Almost half of all cars stolen in Britain are never seen by their owners again. Many of them are shipped abroad by crooked gangs.
Criminals are getting better. We're seeing items being stolen overnight and certainly being exported out of the country by lunchtime the following day.
Tonight, how organised criminals are getting rich by exchanging cars for cash to fund other crime.
That can be taken anywhere in the world and exchanged for cash or drugs or firearms.
As stealing cars becomes harder, how violent thieves terrify innocent motorists to get their hands on the keys.
Carjackers will do anything to get the fob off the driver.
But as the criminals continue to cross the line,
Right, let's go, all units, let's go.
Britain's cops are fighting back.
Oh, we've got both this time, both got him.
Felixstowe, East Anglia. A special squad of car cops are on the trail of a gang of international criminals who are stealing luxury vehicles and then exporting them to Africa and Eastern Europe in shipping containers using fake manifests.
We've got a container here at the port that has been selected for examination. And what we normally do before we actually start to actually go into the container, the gentleman from the port authority here actually checks the container with equipment here, which they actually check to see whether there's any dangerous gases inside the container before we actually go inside them. Well, in theory, the vehicle could be stolen overnight, could be taken to a location for loading. In theory, it could be loaded into a container within at least 12 hours. Certainly within another 12 hours, that container could be on the port side and ready to be shipped out of the UK. We've just managed to get the bonnet release up, and I'm going to come back out and I'll check the numbers. Oh, fine! On this one, there's a VIN tag on here as well, which matches up with the number plate. So that one's okay. Ruffy, you got the VIN number?
17103 is the last one.
Yeah, 17103, yeah, that's fine. That's the visible vehicle identification number there. I'm just checking the stamped in number, which is on the chassis on this vehicle down behind the wheel. And that matches up with the other numbers on the vehicle, which match up with the number plate and the check that we've done. So, which just shows that the vehicle is correct and it's on its correct identity.
This car hasn't been stolen, but every month DC Griggs and his team are finding hundreds of luxury cars which have.
Volumes are staggering going out of the ports within the UK. If you just go and pick random containers, you're not going to find what you need to find, which is why my team goes out and looks specifically at active companies, active individuals, and various other ways that we source containers which are of interest to us.
The searching of containers and recovery of the stolen cars inside them is part of a special police operation against the gangs who steal them from our driveways. It's called Operation Brighton and is run by Britain's only national car crime squad, AVCIS, the Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service.
What we've noticed is that certain marks of vehicles, certain prestige cars, 4x4s, the big German manufacturers, those sorts of cars, still remain very popular with organised crime groups. Those cars tend to be put into containers or driven onto ferries and exported from the United Kingdom.
We've been doing it for about the last 18 months, and we've been working with all the local officers, such as here at Felixstowe, with the local officers, supporting them in their day-to-day work. But it has been very, very successful in passing the information around the ports from one port to another, because where one thing will be happening at one port, it's more than likely to be happening at another. And also the criminality will move from port to port if vehicles are recovered at those ports.
DC Griggs and his colleague DC Chris Ruff aren't just breaking into and opening containers at random. They're targeting ones with suspicious manifests, bound for Africa.
The container was bound for Mombasa through intelligence that's collected by agencies around the port. That was fed into the police unit here, identified the container for looking at. That's the false number plate that was actually on the vehicle. It's actually fallen off after it's been loaded. That's how poorly it was being actually put on. But that's just to give a bit of credence to the stolen vehicle if anybody just did a quick check inside the container, which matches up to a similar vehicle. This one has got another false plate on the front, which matched the one we've just seen at the back on that one. We believe this is a stolen vehicle as well, and again these are false plates. On these ones they've actually put the GB on, and they've got a name and an Audi insignia. But again, there's no other makers or postcode on it, which would indicate that it's just been made up for the purpose of disguising the vehicle. I mean, the value of the two cars that we've just seen in the container there, the total value is around about £90,000. When you take into account as a small couple of £100 paid to the burglar to go to the address and steal the keys and the vehicle, and then the actual container will cost anywhere between £1,000 and £1,500. Obviously that means they walk away with something in the realms of the upper 80s, £1,000 of profit. The Land Rover was only stolen 12 days ago. So after it being stolen to the port, it was only a matter of 6 days. And then if it hadn't have been stopped, it would have been well on its way out to Africa at the moment.
The Land Rover was driven away from a driveway after the burglar broke into the house to steal its keys. Part of a crime wave sweeping Britain, which has seen car key burglaries rise by 15%.
There are very well-established networks of people who will source the vehicle right from the point of theft, which invariably is from a car key burglaries. This is where they break into your house to get the car keys, right the way through to having the vehicle's identity changed. That'll be somebody else involved in that process. Somebody else will then either sell the vehicle on or will then put the vehicle into a container and export it to foreign climes.
Both on false plates, yeah.
And there's just one thing harder than finding stolen cars.
Oh, Simon, I'm stuck.
The problem is, as you can see from inside the containers, when there's two big 4x4s, for instance, in this case, it's very, very tight, especially for slim officers like myself and Chris, to actually get and check the full numbers and all the identification numbers on the actual vehicles.
Come on, Simon, don't you pretend it's any easier for you.
It's easy for me. Straight through.
That's probably because you're softer. It's all muscle for me, mate.
Ports like Felixstowe handle at least 5,000 containers every day, so the car crime squad can't rely on hunches or intelligence to find out what's inside the containers. Their vehicle is equipped to pick up covert radio signals from tracker devices.
This unit here will receive a signal. If it receives a signal from a stolen vehicle, it will throw up a identity number, which we can then contact Tracker with, and they will tell us what that unit belongs to and what type of vehicle and the identity of it. We can then use this by a series of direction arrows and an audio signal as well to actually get closer to it and finally recover the vehicle and identify it.
Tracker's radio frequency system clearly operates in all concealed places. Radio frequencies can travel through containers, through walls, underground. That is very different from your normal mobile phone, where you go underground or go into a dark place, it stops working. So it works because it is based on radio frequency technology which effectively the laws of physics indicate that radio frequencies will work all across the UK.
Even with tracker technology, the Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service knows they're only scratching the surface of the organised criminal export trade. Last year, almost 20,000 cars were taken during so-called two-in-one burglaries. – 150 miles south of Felixstowe, the Hampshire police are also on the case of the two-in-one thefts and stolen cars fitted with trackers.
The difficulty we have is that we've now got a system where vehicles have become so secure in the UK, people need to have the keys to gain entry to them. And this is what leads now to a system where effectively houses are broken into, thieves and victims are meeting one another.
Detective Constable Vince Wise has been working the ports for the past 5 years.
We know for definite this one's a stolen car because of the fact that this container's been emitting a tracker signal and this registration number doesn't relate to the true identification of this car.
Until a few days ago, this Mercedes was being driven by a professional chauffeur who also owned another identical one as part of a business he ran from home. Both cars were taken from his driveway.
This was actually a rental car that was rented to a guy in Essex. I think the gentleman, for his business, needed a second car, and as a result of which the theft had occurred, he actually had 2 cars go from his home address at the same time.
Unfortunately for the chauffeur, his own Mercedes didn't have a tracker fitted, and there's no sign of it here.
Cheers, bye-bye now.
The victim's only hope is that DCYs can find clues in the container shipping manifest. In East Anglia, DC Griggs is continuing to bust open containers, and he's still finding stolen cars bound for Africa.
These 2 vehicles are manifested as going to Mombasa in East Africa. One's a result of a burglary in Kent, another one in the southern area of the Met.
Just a black VW Touareg at the front as well, so almost identical vehicles. Whether there's a possibility they've been stolen to order. Somebody's actually requested particular vehicles, in this case the VW Touareg, and they've asked for 2, hence there's 2 in this box.
The Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service believes that the illicit trade in stolen cars is being unwittingly fuelled by a tightening of money transfers at the ports by Britain's new border agency.
That's one thing that we're looking at quite closely at the moment, is that at the end of the day, if you get stopped now at the ports with large amounts of cash, there's legislation and laws in place that allows the police or the UKBA to take that off you, and then you have to prove where that money comes from. What we're saying now is that we're finding more and more vehicles that may well be being used as cash, because that can be taken anywhere in the world and exchanged for any other type of commodity, whether it be cash or drugs or firearms or anything.
Catching the gangs and individuals responsible for the burglaries for car keys is proving difficult, and the crime is on the up.
Estimates range between 6% and 16% of all burglaries being car keys. One insurer recently told us that 80% of their valuable cars over £10,000, are stolen by means of car key burglary. So it's an ongoing problem that we're trying to resolve, and it's going to, I think, get worse over the years.
In East London, the thefts have got so bad that the local police commander has ordered a crackdown, codenamed Ice Pick.
Over the last few months there's been an increase in burglaries, and the type of burglaries has been an increase over those whereby people break into the house to steal car keys and drive the car off the drive. Operation Ice Pick is a tri-borough operation between ourselves in Redbridge, Havering and Barking and Dagenham, aimed at hardening the ground against criminals and making a hostile environment for burglars to work in. You can't broadcast what I think about burglars. Yeah, I couldn't say it in enough of a diplomatic manner. These people are the lowest of the low. They violate people's premises, they go into the premises and leave people in their own homes feeling unsafe.
The man with the task of making people feel safer is Sergeant Crump, a veteran car crime cop with 25 years service. His Ice Pick partner is PC Collier. They're going to be using special street cameras connected to police computers known as ANPR, Automatic Number Plate Recognition.
We are out with local boroughs from Romford, Havering, Redbridge and Barking and Dagenham, because there's been an endemic of cars stolen from driveways by overnight burglaries. So we're trying to do something about that. As you can see, as we're driving past now, there's windows open and people do go to bed and forget to shut them. Which, you know, you should be able to go to bed and leave your window open, but unfortunately there's people that take advantage of that and see an opportunity and take it. So we're going down to Woodford New Road today because they've been particularly badly hit. We're going to sit up on one of the main thoroughfares, set the ANPR up and see what comes through.
Sergeant Crump, I'm in position, reading both ways, ready when you are.
Yeah, you can start.
Yeah, far away, mate.
Which way is he putting them out? How's he putting them out?
I'll be putting them up towards London or towards the A406.
Thanks, Dakey. We'll cover towards the 406.
Crump and Collier must wait for the ANPR cameras on the streets to alert them, but they also have cameras on their police car.
There's a camera located on the back of the car which is infrared, so at this time of night it's perfect. It's got the ability to read number plates and compare it to several databases that are stored on this car. Everything from no keeper, no tax all the way up to more high-level crime.
Finding those involved in the high-level crime isn't just a case of wait and see. This is Sunday, and Crump and Collier are parked in this spot for a very good reason.
It's been proven by intelligence and by some research and analysis that Sunday night has been a busy night. Sunday night going into Monday morning. So we're looking for it to get busier at about midnight, towards about 4 o'clock. There's a lot of expensive properties around here with expensive cars. So obviously that's why we're down here, because these people are targeting top of the range cars. And obviously the days of getting into these cars and hot wiring them have long gone. In order to drive a car away now, you need the key with the immobiliser in it. And the best way of doing that is to target it in someone's house.
Although Crump and Collier want to help catch burglars in the act, they're also having to watch out for other motorists who the ANPR cameras indicate might be breaking the law.
Well, criminals aren't just burglars. The burglar may be a disqualified driver who may be known to us for some other things, so we will check other cars that come through the system.
And there's a car in that system now.
See? Do we know what it is? I suppose you don't, because it's on the infrared. Stand on.
According to their computer, the car's being driven by someone who has previously been involved in a domestic dispute.
You're looking for a blue MG. Yeah, they might be carrying a knife. Don't want to put all the lights and sirens on because it might spook them. They're so far in front of us that they could quite easily get away. So we're just trying to make a bit of ground, and we'll see what happens.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. There's 2 up. Let's be a little bit cautious if they've got any weapons with them.
2 up means the driver has a passenger who's not known to the police. It'll be PC Collier's job to deal with the man behind the wheel.
Hello, friend, you all right? Yeah, good. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Just noticed you got a bit of a bald tyre there.
This one.
Is it your car?
Yeah, it's my Vic.
OK, come over to my car, we'll do some checks on you, all right? Just stand on the pavement for me, if you would. What was you arrested for last time?
Just a domestic dispute with my girlfriend.
Nothing else?
No.
OK. Right, I'm just going to pat you down, because I know you've carried knives in the past.
I wasn't carrying a knife.
What was it?
My mum's birthday.
Yeah?
And I had the butterfly knife, the cake, and the thingy knife in the box.
Yeah, but you know what's going on.
Yeah, I know, but...
Any part of London you go to, the amount of knife crime that we have to deal with, I don't want you being one of these young black guys who gets killed. Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, definitely. A lot of it is for our own safety, I believe that. You know what I mean?
For your own safety is one thing, but if you drop it in a fight and they go and have you with your own knife, you see what I'm saying? Let me just check this waistband then.
Sorry, I was just...
All right, OK. It's all right. Stand over there for me. It's all right. Watch your fingers. So, what are we going to do about these tyres then? Have you got a spare?
A spare tyre?
Spare tyre, yeah. Should have.
Yeah. Rob, put your hazard lights on for me while you're changing your tyre, yeah? We're not going to stay with you.
We want the problem solved, and that's why we've asked him or given him the opportunity to change the tyre for the spare. And he's attempting to do that as we speak. So if that's done, then that's fine. It frees us up to do more important things. Bearing in mind we're here for burglars tonight, we might use a little bit of discretion.
And it pays off. Calls are now coming in about a burglary in progress, a mile from where Crump and Collier are. It's from other ice pick cops who've been lying in wait undercover.
Some officers are watching somebody who's trying to burgle a place as we speak. They're trying to force the shutters by the sounds of it.
Crump and Collier aren't the only members of the task force closing in. Other cops are in the vans and a dog unit's involved too.
Right, let's go, all units, let's go. Hey, what do you mind there? That's right there, hold it dark. Sorry, right there, hold it dark to moving, go. It's out. One is all Spencer, please.
He's getting it, yeah, he's being dealt with. Dog's after him.
He's down behind the car on your left. On your left.
we want the lookout.
Who's detained, Dave?
This one's detained, there's a lookout on the corner.
We've got 5 detained, 5 got him. Madam. We've got 5 detained.
This is the other side of the operation tonight. We've got some unmarked cars out with plainclothes officers. They've seen 2 gentlemen, one of whom was keeping lookout over there. The other one that's been arrested was breaking into a shop back here. They've kept an eye on observation, called us in, and we've detained 2 for burglary.
Those officers enjoy this. You just have to look on their faces. There's nothing makes an officer happier than locking up somebody who's violated a member of the public, whether that's through crime, through going in their premises or stealing their vehicles.
Violating members of the public is something Britain's car criminals are increasingly doing. Many don't even bother to go to the trouble of paying burglars to do their dirty work. They wait until the driver is in the car they want before going after it. Carjacking is what the tabloids call it.
Give me a keys!
When this sales rep fell foul of the carjackers on Merseyside, the violence left him so traumatised he's afraid of being recognised and targeted again.
I was going to a shop in Liverpool on business when I approached some traffic lights. This black car by hell or high water was going to get behind me. He pushed out a white van. I didn't think any more of it till I turned left and then was hit from behind. I pulled over. I waited till the driver's door opened. I got out myself, and then I was confronted by 3 guys in masks asking me for my car keys. I was so shocked at first, I didn't know what was going on, and they asked me again, and I told them what they could do with their request and took a beating for it. Once they kicked my legs from under me and I was on the floor, obviously you go into like to protect your head, and they took the keys out of my hand. 2 of them ran back to their car and 1 got into my car, of which then I watched both cars speed up the road at a tremendous speed.
This man's experience is not unique, and he's convinced that his attackers and others like them are prepared to cross any line to get what they want.
Car thieves or carjackers will do anything to get the fob off the driver, and if that means threatening you with a gun, a knife, beating you or maybe killing you, they will do it without a shadow of a doubt.
On the south coast of England, the Hampshire police are still on the trail of the second silver Mercedes, which was taken from the drive of a chauffeur in Essex, the one without a tracker device. AVCIS has found a container which he believes is linked to the theft. He located it in Hamburg and has had it shipped back to Southampton. The manifest makes no mention of cars or car parts.
I'm hoping, as we've had the confidence to get this one turned around, even though it was described as used machinery, that we're hoping now that this may contain the stolen Mercedes, which was the second car stolen in the previous burglary. That looks pretty good so far.
It looks more than good. The car in the container is an exact match to the one DC Vince found earlier. And if it is the stolen car, the news will get better for the owner. Because no tracker device was fitted, the insurance company refused to reimburse him.
For technical reasons, his insurance company didn't pay out. So effectively, the actual value of this car he's had to sustain as a personal loss. So if we can get confirmation that it is his car, I think you'll be talking to a very happy man later on. Thanks very much, cheers. The number plate that's on the car, I've got a printout here from the DVLA, and that's telling me a separate chassis number, so we know that this car can't be what it purports to be. So if I then look at the vehicle that I believe it may be, and I can confirm that from the number there. I think we're in a position, certainly, where we can phone this gentleman up now and tell him that we've recovered his car, and I think he's going to be extremely happy. So this is the key that he's forwarded down to us, which was obviously his spare key, the other one being stolen in the burglary. And if we offer it up to the car, as you can see here, it's now unlocking the car. Go on, give us some willy. Lovely.
The thieves have left everything intact, even the owner's most personal belongings.
George Michael double album here.
With his work done, DC Wise just has one last thing to do.
Let's give Mr. a ring again and see if we can get hold of him and give him the good news.
Jason speaking, sorry.
Hi, Jason. Vince Wise from Hampshire Police. How you doing?
Oh, hi, Ben. Yeah, good. Well, hopefully.
Are you sitting down? Because I've got some good news and some bad news.
Oh, Christ.
Well, the good news is we got your car.
Oh?
The bad news is...
It's in bits.
No, the bad news is we found out you're a George Michael fan.
You just absolute... I think I need a heart pump.
Good.
Oh, Jesus, it's a heart. That's unbelievable.
Well, your car is completely intact, unmarked. The only thing she's going to need is a replacement tax disc and a new set of number plates, mate.
Jesus, that's unbelievable. I haven't got to sell my house now. It was coming to that. You can't believe that. It's just like winning the lottery, to be honest. That's unreal. You can keep the George Michael if you like.
No, it's okay. You can keep that. That's okay.
Okay, thanks ever so much for your help.
Oh, okay, no worries. Speak to you later. Cheers for that. Bye-bye. He was going to have to sell his house. You know, how serious is that? You know, we talk about the economical impact on people, and it does. It just makes you all fluffy inside, doesn't it?
The crooks behind the theft and shipping of these Mercedes haven't been traced. Yet. Mercedes have become the car of choice for many thieves who cross the line, but they don't always get away with it. When Southampton's stolen vehicle squad opened this shipping container destined for Africa a year ago, they put the final touches to an investigation which saw one of Britain's major car criminals go out of business. A man responsible for shipping more than 18 stolen luxury cars from various ports in Britain to Tanzania in Africa, who ran his criminal operation from this house in the English Midlands. But this Mr. Big didn't have his Mercs stolen in burglaries or carjacked. He simply hired them from a car rental company and then drove them into containers to be shipped abroad, having his gang report them as stolen. Everything went well until a former police detective became head of security at the rental company.
In July 2007, a Mercedes was rented from Birmingham Airport. The car was reported stolen by a female driver who stated that she'd been victim of a carjack. This was taken at face value. I received some intelligence and I was directed to the port of Southampton. I in turn contacted the special branch at Southampton docks. With their assistance, we looked at the ship's manifests for containers going to Tanzania. We were fortunate enough to open those containers, and inside was our missing Mercedes, complete with the keys.
Even at this point, Graham Sterry had no idea he was dealing with organised criminals. All that changed when another Mercedes went missing.
This time out of Manchester Airport. And this vehicle, to all intents and purposes, was rented by the same person using the same details.
As Sterry's police instincts kicked in, he realised he had a chance to catch the car thieves red-handed, if he could get everyone to play ball.
I decided to monitor the movements of this vehicle, and in particular the hirer. At one point in time, I spoke to the hirer on his mobile phone. I knew from our conversation the car wasn't where the hirer said it was, i.e. it was in Felixstowe rather than Leicester. I contacted the special branch at Felixstowe and told them what I'd found in Southampton, and they agreed to search the manifests of a ship bound for Tanzania. And again, in a sealed container, the Mercedes and keys were recovered.
Sterry had his cars back, but he also wanted whoever was behind the racket. He gambled that the thief or thieves would have no idea he was onto them. He and the police were ready when the phone rang again.
I agreed that we would supply a car to this person again. I would monitor it over a series of days, and then I would give them a commentary so that they could arrest the suspects inside the vehicle.
The arresting officers were PC's Yusuf Khan and Nigel Appleby.
The Merc was parked here. As we approached the car, we went round to the driver's side, and Nigel was at the passenger side. And I opened the driver's door, identified myself, and upon identifying myself, I asked him to take the keys out of ignition, which he did. So we took the person out of the vehicle, put him in the back of our plane car. At that point, he was asking the question, what's going on? And we explained in the back, I explained in the back of the police car that he was under arrest, suspicion of theft of motor vehicles. He denied it.
He tried to say that he borrowed the vehicle of a friend the night before, and he was simply returning it back to the hire company. He wasn't very forthcoming with the information that he was giving.
The unforthcoming man was Aponjoli Malakasuka, a 36-year-old Tanzanian immigrant who lived in West Bromwich. He denied having anything to do with the thefts, but when Khan and Appleby raided his house, they found he'd made a mistake. His home was crammed with evidence.
Right, this is the address you provided, and as a result of which we were required to do a search of the address. And as we went in, the house was secured, front and back door were covered so no one could escape.
One of the most notable finds that I found was a hire agreement for one of the other stolen vehicles, which was located in a container at one of the shipping docks.
The documentation was in form of logbooks and other stuff which he had obviously used to export vehicles. There were container numbers and all that, which doesn't sound like much, but when you've got 3 bags full, that's a lot when you're looking at different rooms.
I would suggest normally a lot of the documentation such as this is destroyed or is kept elsewhere, not at people's home addresses. So I was surprised that we found the volume of documents that we did.
This is where the cars Malakasuka stole were headed. Dar es Salaam is the largest port in East Africa, handling 95% of Tanzania's international trade. An ideal destination for Britain's car criminals. The purchasers have no idea they might be buying a stolen car, and most police officers don't know what to look for. But the international crime-fighting organisation Interpol is trying to change this by putting specially trained car cops into Dar es Salaam and the containers from Britain. Interpol's man in charge is the Assistant Commissioner of the Tanzanian Police Force.
We are now living in a world that has changed, in a globalized world. Okay, crime has also been globalized. Criminals have also been globalized. And this is where international police cooperation comes in. And it's the Interpol, actually, which is at the center of the coordination of all these activities.
Coordination means having people on the ground who can stop the stolen cars from leaving the port.
I think the port somehow does not have the proper mechanism at the moment to identify stolen motor vehicles, because they only rely on documentation. So when they just look at these papers, they see that there's nothing wrong. I really think that their system lacks a proper mechanism on identifying these things.
But Tanzania's cops do have one proper mechanism which works: roadblocks, at which any cars found to be stolen are confiscated. The yard in which the stolen foreign cars are kept is already filling up.
The vehicles that we are standing beside them at the moment were seized during an operation that was conducted countrywide. This is a Land Rover Range Rover. What happened is that we cross-checked the VIN number. It was found that this particular motor vehicle had been reported stolen in Britain. Likewise, for this other car, this is a Toyota Hilux Surf. The initial reports that we had, when the VIN number was cross-checked, it was found actually it was stolen in Britain.
Training Tanzanian police officers to recognize stolen cars has become a crusade for Interpol's man in Dar es Salaam.
I believe that there are plenty of these kind of motor vehicles roaming our streets. Okay, I want to rid our streets of these stolen motor vehicles, not only from Great Britain, but from so many other countries.
But in underdeveloped countries such as Tanzania, progress is slow.
I wish most police officers could have been trained in this area, but actually we lack the necessary funding, we lack the necessary equipments, and though we use those who have been trained to train others, but still we are lagging behind in this area.
In the neighbouring state of Uganda, they've also a big problem with cars stolen in Britain turning up on their doorstep. But Uganda has the money to put into the fight, and Interpol is running full-blown training programs which involve car crime cops from around the world.
You want to improve your knowledge, you want to know more about this serious crime issue.
Improving Uganda's knowledge today is Police Constable Gary Pittaway from London.
If we look at how a vehicle is cloned, the easiest way to do it would be to change the number plates. I'm a Metropolitan Police officer. I deliver national training to all UK officers, not just Metropolitan Police, and we're just one of a lot of forces within the UK. If you then think of all the other police forces in the other countries around Europe and around the world, all doing different things but trying to achieve the same thing, straight away you can see that the number plates are both the same. A police officer is going to be looking for specific marks on a car, and this is going to be an international standard. There will be stamped-in numbers that may be engraved or laser-etched, and these are numbers that are in the metal of the vehicle, whether in the chassis or in the body of the vehicle. They'll be repeated on metal plates, or more commonly now, for quite some time, there will be vinyl labels, but these are made in a particular way by the manufacturers, and they are very, very difficult to replicate, and someone who's got a trained eye and know what they're looking for will always spot a fake. We've come to the Kampala Police Training Centre where they've got their driving school, and they've now got a large compound here with lots of vehicles that they think may be stolen, so this is where we've come to do our practical.
With a magnifying glass I can look very closely. I can see that what should be a laser-etched label, letters and numbers, they're very, very badly done. Oh, look at that W. Oh my goodness. Looking at it here, it looks fine, it looks neat, but with a magnifying glass you can really see how bad it is. Plus you can also see that there is another label underneath, smaller, and that's the original label.
Back in the UK, when I do the training for officers there, we have genuine stolen vehicles that we've tidied up, and we set them up for the officers to learn from, and then they go away and look at real vehicles. It's a similar situation here, but we can't really play around with stolen vehicles and set them up purely for the students, so they are the first persons to actually examine these vehicles, and hopefully they'll identify some stolen ones.
No one has got a hammer and bang it out?
No. They are in the original state.
So I think that's original. That's good, yeah.
The African training program is unique. The laptops they are using are linked by internet Wi-Fi to Interpol's main stolen vehicle database in Europe, 3,500 miles away.
Here in Africa, not every police force has a computerised database that they can search registration processes of vehicles, or sometimes just paper systems, not always computerised. Interpol provide a system that the officers can search and assist them with their everyday police work when it comes to vehicle crime and identifying vehicles that are stolen. And that's partly what we're doing here today. The internet is information that can help you. Okay. So you said just now that you would contact Interpol, the ASF, yes? Yeah? Should we do the check?
The ASF is an Interpol database which lists vehicles reported stolen from 122 countries around the world.
The ASF is on this computer, okay, for this operation. Now you need to fill in the numbers, okay? So you've got VIN, and you've got registration, you've got engine number.
95.
95.
Theft reported by Japan.
What's that?
Theft reported by Japan.
So it's stolen?
Yes. Stolen.
Hey! Yes, it's stolen.
Stolen.
We've just found it. Well, they've just found a stolen car. Excellent. For those vehicles that do come to places like Africa, it's not a case of, well, let's leave it. The officers here do work extremely hard with limited resources, and they've been very enthusiastic, so much so that, as you've seen, we've identified quite a few stolen vehicles, and the grins on their face just shows that the training works.
In England, turning the evidence found by PC's Khan and Appleby at Malika Suka's house into a watertight case required cops with an eye for money and a gift for chasing paper trails. Detective Constables Chris Harris and Stefan Weisershin specialise in financial riddles.
This is the main station property store where we basically keep everything all nice and secure and out of harm's way. And here we have the main exhibit boxes, which we've collated over the duration of the investigation. It really was an Aladdin's cave. I mean, a bit of a nightmare when you're presented with literally huge bags. It must have took us about 4 or 5 weeks to get to grips, really, with everything.
Getting to grips with Malika Suka wasn't easy. It soon became clear he was a master fraudster as well as a car thief. He'd been deported from America for fraud before settling in Britain.
In total, we'd actually recovered 67 bank accounts, which Stefan did a lot of work on.
I don't know how he had the time to do it, because there was withdrawals in different locations around the West Midlands.
I think that in itself would have been a full-time job.
A full-time job, yeah.
I mean, just going back to...
I can't manage my own, let alone 67.
Malika Suka also had a day job, working for a car engineering company, earning £17,000 a year.
Between those 67 accounts, there's just money filtering around all over the place, and money being transferred abroad as well. And again,
evidence of other criminality, really,
yeah.
Wasn't it? That he wasn't just engaged in large-scale vehicle crime. There was clearly something else that was going on, and other criminal activities that he was getting involved in.
The investigators left the something else to one side as they set about trying to convict their man for stealing the Mercedes hire cars. They even used secret crime pattern analysis computers to prove that Malika Suka had parked the cars near his house.
If you look at the other satellite tracking data that we had done, that's Mr. Malika Suka's home address, and this is just roughly just a few doors down. It's just about 20 or 30 yards away down the road. So it was just striking visual representation, really, for anybody looking to show that this vehicle was parked in that location.
The final part of the criminal jigsaw came when the Ports Police at Southampton broke open containers which Weisershin and Harris had identified as being rented by Malika Suka.
We actually found one, a black BMW X5, that was holed up with a brand new hire vehicle that had been hired just a couple of weeks before. It provided a nice link, really, and we worked closely with the Ports Police and the scenes of crime officers down there that did an excellent job of forensically examining each vehicle as it was recovered out of the containers. And there was his fingerprints found both inside and outside one particular vehicle. You're certainly talking minimum 30-plus vehicles that have gone out and you know, all worth, well above £30,000, £40,000 each.
We're talking calculated, going through all the accounts, about £1.6 million has gone through those accounts.
He had no option, really, other than to plead guilty to all offences that were put to him.
The end of the road for Malika Suka was also a vindication for the car rental company's head of security. The ex-cop with a nose for thieves had exposed a multi-million-pound crime ring.
I'm delighted I've been able to assist the West Midlands Police in their investigation. It's a measure of everything: relief, pleasure, joy and satisfaction that he hasn't been successful.
7:30 a.m, Liverpool's John Lennon Airport. Another police force is looking for car crime help. This time, the cops are from Poland.
Morning.
Hello.
David.
Hi.
Hello. Morning. Hello. How are you?
It's a special vehicle crime course run by the North Yorkshire Police.
Hello. Very nice to meet you.
Welcome. This is an opportunity for us to explore how Poland and England can exchange good, practical policing techniques. I think also the opportunity will be for us to actually showcase our automatic number plate recognition system through our key A1 road networks.
The ANPR system is something the Poles have never seen before.
These two cameras are monitoring the vehicles coming and going past us on this particular road.
We don't use this system in Poland. We have to stop the car, and after this we are able to check the driver, car, etc., etc.
This is not make-believe training. The British cops are actually after lawbreakers. It's the best way to teach others how to use the technology.
There's the red van that we're just about to come up behind now. It's showing as not insured on the police national computer, so we'll stop it and see who's driving it and see what insurance they've got in relation to the use of it.
Hello, hiya. Is it your vehicle? Do you want to just come and take a seat in the car with us? I'll explain why I've stopped you. All right. Hiya.
The vehicle has a load of homing pigeons in the back.
I just need to ring up about the insurance.
Hello there, how's that I can help you?
I've got a gentleman stopped who said he's got insurance with yourselves on a van I've got stopped.
Okay, you have the registration number of the vehicle, please?
I have. It's Echo Oscar 04.
Right, okay, it does have cover. Policy was renewed on the 15th of April.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem at all, thank you.
Cheers. Bye now.
Bye.
I just need to do another inquiry. You're marked down as having an expired substantive driving licence, which means that your driving licence, I think, has been taken from you at some point, or you may have been disqualified, and you've not applied to get it back. But if you just bear with me a minute, I'll just have a look into it and see if we can find out what the score is with that.
Would it be all right to have a cigarette, please?
You just bear with us a couple of minutes, all right. My colleague's just spoken direct with the DVLA, and what they're saying is your disqualification was up on the 10th of December 1999, and you didn't apply to get your driving licence back, which is something that you need to do in order to be able to drive. A1 southbound, about 400 yards from Borough Bridge. There's two passengers with the vehicle and a load of pigeons in the back, so we'll need to sort something out with the pigeons, I think. Hopefully, if we can get them to the side of the road, they might just be able to release from here to fly back home. Time by my watch is now 12:50 hours, and I'm going to caution report you for the offence of driving otherwise in accordance with the licence.
No driving licence means the car won't be going anywhere.
We're finished with. You just need to grab out whatever you want out the van. And hopefully he's sorted his pigeons.
His pigeons, however, are free to go home. Many crooks regularly exploit the internal borders between Britain's police constabularies by stealing a vehicle from one force area and then selling it to an innocent buyer in another part of the country, having first changed its identity and number plates, just like this one. When Greg Paczynski, who lives in Scunthorpe in North Yorkshire, saw a 5 Series BMW for £8,000 on eBay, he was more than happy to travel the 200 miles to Croydon in South London to pick up his bargain.
I had a test drive with a car, even more. I liked the car even better. We came back to the hotel. We decided on to go to the cafeteria so I could pay him the amount for the car. He checked the amount of money. I said it was nice doing business with you, and just left and headed over back home.
When Mr. Paczynski got home to Scunthorpe and booked his new Pride and Joy into a garage for a check-up and service, his troubles began.
I had a call from the police that the car is unfortunately stolen and they are keeping the vehicle. They explained the car is of completely different identity.
The BMW was also from a totally different part of the country, involving another police force.
Police said that the car has been stolen on the side of a burglary in a different area of the country a couple of months earlier.
Although the North Yorkshire Police seized his car, 2 other forces were also now involved. Greater Manchester, because that's where the theft occurred a couple of months earlier, and the Metropolitan Police, because the selling on took place in Croydon. For months, Mr. Paczynski was passed from force to force.
In my hometown in Scunthorpe, police only sent me back to Manchester Police to find out any information about the car, about the case. But so far, I haven't received any relevant information.
We have 43 separate police forces in England and Wales, 43 separate management structures, 43 separate budget holders, 43 separate police authorities. And obviously policing in Norfolk, for example, will be very different to policing in London or Manchester. What tends to happen is that when criminals exploit cross-boundary weaknesses or cross-force weaknesses, we start to struggle a little bit in our response to it.
In Mr. Paczynski's case, the file was marked closed when the Metropolitan Police wrote to him saying they were dropping the investigation due to lack of evidence.
There can be nothing more disheartening than having lost thousands of pounds in a scam, only to be told that the police are effectively not interested. Wholly unacceptable.
Paczynski also thought it unacceptable and turned private detective to try and solve the case himself and get his £8,000 back. The man who sold him the car had handed over an invoice.
So I made a step to come back to Croydon to start looking for company address of a seller who sold me the fake vehicle. Actually, it's the only way for me to act upon my case on my own. This is the invoice for the car, supplied by a seller operating at this address in Croydon. This is a completely different company. The company is not here.
If at first you don't succeed, ask the neighbours.
Hello. Hello there. Have you ever heard of that company? That's 177.
The only part of van sale, the only van sale is quite a way down there on the left-hand side.
Okay. Thank you.
The trail might have gone cold, but Paczynski isn't a quitter. He's determined to bring those responsible to justice, even if the cops aren't. Professional help is at hand. Philip Swift, a former police detective who is now a motor insurance loss adjuster. Mr. Swift also runs a crime prevention website, mycartoolbox.com.
The crooks involved in this play the game. They know the rules. They know that we've got parochial police constabularies. You steal a vehicle in London, you advertise it for sale in Birmingham, and somebody from North Wales may come and buy it. Who does what? Which constabulary's jurisdiction does the fraud fall in, the crime, and will a constabulary that seizes the vehicle investigate the crime of theft on another constabulary's jurisdiction? The answer is no.
Philip Swift is a man who refuses to raise false hopes, even when the victim is putting up a fight.
In relation to your car, what if you do find the guy who sold it to you? Will he simply say, £8,000 odd, I'm very sorry, mate, I didn't know it was stolen? Which then means that the police have to do more by way of investigation to show that he did. But will they?
In this case, the answer is no. So what about the insurance company which now owns the car?
If the insurers will enter into negotiation with you, then you might be able to recover some of that money, reduce your loss. So hopefully you'll deal with a decent claims handler. In my experience, most of them know the score, they understand your predicament, they're very sympathetic, and they'll try to help you.
In North Yorkshire, Britain's car cops are still trying to help the Polish police become better at fighting the car crime wars.
Yeah, 149 check, please.
Go ahead.
Have a November Foxtrot on an Audi in silver.
Sylvester only.
Well, that was a Polish name, then. Does it sound Polish? Do you want to stop it? Yeah? We can check. Hello. Have you got your driving licence and stuff with you? Yeah? Do you want to grab it? Come and take a seat with us? Okay.
The driver is Polish, but has lived in Britain for some time, without a British driving licence.
How long have you been here? Yeah. You need to get it changed. Your licence.
Because now I don't have the money, but it's 50 quid for now.
Is that what it is to change it? Right.
50 quid. Because I've got documents in home, but I don't send yet.
Right. Well, get it sent.
Is this enough to pay for exchanging the driving license? No test, no.
No, because it's part of the EU now. It means that what they can do is they can just come across and drive on it, and all you do is I didn't realise there was a fee, but he pays £50. And they'll give him an English driving licence.
Right, take care. Do widzenia, panu. Do widzenia. Absolutely big surprise.
The biggest surprise for the Polish police after 4 days on the roads of North Yorkshire is the effectiveness of Britain's high-tech car crime weapon, automatic number plate recognition.
Today we don't have an ANPR system in Poland. We've learned what kind of things we need to work with this system in the future.
Right, if you girls want to look this way. Thank you.
While the British police are happy to help the Polish cops, their fellow Pole, Greg Paczynski, is still trying to find the man who sold him the car with no official help at all. Through a residential phone number given to him by eBay, he's found an address for a man he thinks might be involved.
I would like to meet the person, get in touch with him and ask for the money back. I rang the landline number and I had the phone ringing inside. The TV in the living room is switched on. Because nobody answered the door for me, I'm gonna write down a quick note and post it through the letterbox.
It's a final roll of the dice, the longest of long shots. And it's paid off.
Hello? Yeah.
The man on the other end of the phone says he has a son who might be the one.
Does your son have a big tattoo at the back of his neck? Yeah. So, yeah, obviously it's definitely your son I'm looking for. Yeah.
I can try and text him again and see if he'll reply to me. And see what agreement he can make with you. I've got your number.
Okay, sir, thank you very much for that. I'll be waiting for some information back from you.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
He promised to me on the phone, his father, that he'll try to get in touch with him tomorrow and raise the issue with him, and he's very disappointed about his son's behavior because it's a very young guy, his son, and he said he's going to come back to me with information he finds out.
My hat goes off to these people. They've been a victim of crime. So when they go about setting up their own mini investigation, it's quite amazing that having done some very basic checks, that suddenly, not only have they got the bad guy and an address for the bad guy, but they've got the evidence that links the bad guy to the car to an address, and therefore the solving of a crime. And there can be nothing more disheartening than, having done all that you go back to the police force who say, we're still not interested.
Greg didn't hear anything more from the suspect's father, and although the police did reopen the case, he decided to take the advice of the ex-cop, Philip Swift, and agreed to pay the insurance company £6,000 to get the car back. His bargain BMW has now cost him a total of £14,000. After 5 months, a man has now been arrested.
There's two simple things really that you can do to avoid being ripped off. First of all, you've got to know the car. You must check the VIN. You must also check the other stamped-in numbers that you can find around the vehicle. And the second part is you must know the seller. Make sure you go to an address, make sure you get a contact number. You've got to actually understand that should something go wrong, you can go and find that person later.
The man responsible for the theft of Mercedes from car rental companies, Mponjoli Malakasuka, was jailed for 3.5 years. He was the only member of the gang to be caught. The judge who sentenced him ordered him to pay to the Crown almost £830,000 or face a further 4 years in prison. When he's served his time, Malakasuka will be deported to Tanzania.